Hi, David. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying here. Let me just go back as an example. You want to have something like 8 buttons right here, and then they stay there, or at least when the next slide comes in, the same 8 buttons will be there. Here's what I would do, only because I'm pulling the buttons out and have them separate. I'm not even sure how to do that myself without tinkering a whole bunch, but there's an easy way to do this yourself. So here's what I've been playing around with to get this. Open up your, let me just go here in my folder list. Open up your library sliders, your carousel slider.html. Okay. Now here's what I would do myself. I'm just going to give you a little bit, give myself some room to work here. I'm going to go and find, see we've got right here where it says flip it over to code view first of all. Okay. And you see where it says the, about this first button right here where it starts with the Ahref. Right. Well, what I'm going to get you to do is just put your cursor at the beginning there and just hit the Enter key. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of room to work with, and I'll show you why in a second. Right. And then sort of scoot on over, link one, find where the closing A tag is and the next one starts. Okay. And just hit the Enter key again. Okay. So now we have a little bit of breathing room. Okay. And I'm just going to backspace that so it's even. And then go find the closing A tag, which is right here, and the div. And put your cursor between the two and hit enter a couple times. Because what I want to do is I want to separate out the buttons to make it a little bit easier to do this trick. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these two lines right here, put my cursor below, and paste and paste and paste. So now I have a total of 8 buttons for my first slide. Now what I'm going to suggest you do is go and update your links to whatever you want these buttons to link to. Update the name of the buttons and so on. Okay. When you've done that, now you've got your 8 buttons. All you have to do is copy those 8 buttons to the next slides, and it'll look like they stay in place, right? And all that's going to happen is when the next slide pops in, those buttons are going to stay there, but you are going to have to duplicate them for each slide, right? So now we're going to copy this right here. As a matter of fact, what I would do next is I go find the next the slide here, and it really helps if I have a much bigger window to work with, as you can see. So I'm going to stretch this out. Okay, so there's my P tag, there's my A tag right there. I'm just going to hit enter a couple times, go find that closing A right there, put my cursor at the beginning, hit enter, find where this div is, hit enter a few times, and I'm going to do that for all my slides. Give myself a little bit of room to work with. Okay. This way I don't go and accidentally delete something like a div tag that I'm going to need. Okay, so there we go there. Right, once I've updated these 8 right here now, I just copy them, go down the page, there's the 2 there, and I'm going to paste. There's the 2 I've separated out. I'm just going to select right over them and paste. And same for these last 2 right here. And of course you can do that as many times as you want. So now when if I save, all right, and I hit the refresh button like so, there's my 8 links, and I go to the next slide. Boom! Look, the buttons stay there, right? Or they at least look like they stay there, right? Because they're identical, because they don't animate into the page, right? So now you can actually, the only thing is, so the only downside is you have to just do the copy paste like I showed you, but it takes all of an extra minute to get the exact effect that you're looking for. So now you can have different slide, different titles, different whatever you want, but the 8 buttons will stay there.